The European Union will speak with a single voice at those talks, but within the organisation there are very different views about how the EU should respond. The Baltic states, for example, have fears for their own security. Germany has enjoyed a good relationship with Russia, not least over energy supplies. Britain doesn't import Russian gas, though that's due to change later. It has benefited from investment by Russians, not least in the city. As the debate continues over what fresh sanctions to impose, Open Europe, a think tank, has attempted to quantify the position of the 28 countries. Not an easy task, Raoul Ruparel. You're the head of economic research. How much lobbying is going on behind the scenes in those countries to try and affect what kind of sanctions the EU imposes?
Well, I'm certain there's a lot of lobbying going in behind the scenes in all of these countries, and for a number of different reasons. As you mentioned, many of these countries have different links and different histories with Russia. I think a lot of people are probably lobbying behind the scenes in the Baltic states regarding the security concerns, in Germany regarding the trade links, and even in the UK regarding trade and financial links. But if you look at the analysis that we did, there is no clear link necessarily between the economic links between a country and Russia and where they stand on sanctions, and I think there are lots of other factors playing in. Surprisingly, countries such as Italy and Spain and even Greece, who don't necessarily have huge links with Russia, are quite dovish on the situation, while other countries that are far away are quite hawkish. So there's a huge variety in here and a huge number of factors playing into the different positions.
What about in this country? Because there were reports in the Financial Times this morning that organisations like the Corporation of London, which is the sort of political arm, as it were, of the city, and companies like BP are lobbying quite intensively in Whitehall to try and ensure that the British government sticks to its previously advertised line that it doesn't want to see anything that might damage the city's prospects and those of British companies that have close relations with Russia.
Well, I'm sure this lobbying is going on, and I think whenever you have these sorts of situations, there are interests which will try and push back against them. But I think looking at the data, the links between the City of London and Russia, given the city as a global financial centre, aren't actually as huge as is being made out. Only 1% of our financial services, business services and insurance exports go to Russia or to Russian firms, and Russia only accounts for 0.5% of total European international investment into the UK. So, I mean, given the size of the city, these figures are actually fairly small. Now, obviously, there will be lobbying going on, but I think at the moment the UK has still positioned itself as one of the more hawkish members of the European Union, and is fairly close to seeing the next stage of sanctions coming to pass. So I think that the lobbying is not yet having that huge an impact.
Which countries then are taking a sort of hawkish response who might, because of their economic links, we might be surprised at doing so?
Well, I think obviously if you look at the Baltics, Lithuania has a total trade turnover with Russia of 32%, which is a huge amount of their GDP, yet they are very hawkish. Similarly, Estonia and Latvia have trade links in the double digits with Russia, and they also are very reliant on Russia for their gas and energy. So despite these factors, they are pushing very hard for clearer sanctions and very hard for maintenance of territorial integrity and for possibly further military action from NATO in terms of posting troops in their territories. So they're clearly very concerned about, Russia pushing its boundaries into their territories.
Raoul Ruparel of the think tank Open Europe, thanks very much.